Right now, the ground beneath millions of Americans is cracking, shifting, and building pressure, and most of them have absolutely no idea. We live in cities, we drive on highways, we sleep in our homes, all of it built on a thin crust of rock. That is in constant, restless motion. Today, we're going to reveal the 10 American cities most at risk from devastating earthquakes. Some of these cities you'll recognize immediately, others might shock you, and you'll never look at the ground the same way again. Stay until the end, because number 1 might be the most dangerous city in America that nobody is talking about. The United States sits at the intersection of several major tectonic plates, making it one of the most seismically active countries on Earth. Every single day, hundreds of small earthquakes occur across the country. Most are too small to feel, but history has shown us again and again that the big ones do come. In 1906, San Francisco was nearly wiped off the map. In 1994, Los Angeles shook so hard that highways collapsed like cardboard boxes. And in 2011, a massive earthquake struck the eastern United States, surprising scientists and residents alike. Experts warn that we are overdue for the next major seismic event. And when it comes, these 10 cities will be in the direct line of fire. 1. Charleston, South Carolina. Threat level: catastrophic, the city no one expects. This is the one that surprises people. This is the one scientists quietly worry about more than almost any other city in America. Charleston, South Carolina. A gorgeous, historic southern city with cobblestone streets, antebellum architecture, and warm ocean breezes. The last place you'd expect to top a list of earthquake danger. But on August 31st, 1886, Charleston was nearly destroyed by an earthquake estimated at magnitude 7.0. It killed over 100 people, destroyed or damaged 90% of the city's structures, and was felt as far away as New York City. Here's what makes Charleston so uniquely dangerous today. The seismic source that caused the 1886 earthquake is still not fully understood. Scientists cannot precisely identify the fault responsible or predict when it will strike again. Charleston is a city of beautiful old buildings built of unreinforced masonry, completely unable to withstand significant shaking. It sits on soft coastal sediments that will amplify seismic waves, and its residents have largely grown up with zero earthquake culture or preparation. This combination makes Charleston, South Carolina, the number 1 most earthquake-threatened city that most Americans have never even considered. 2. San Francisco, California. Threat level: extreme, history's deadliest lesson. In April of 1906, at 5:12 in the morning, San Francisco woke up to the sound of the earth tearing itself apart. The Great San Francisco Earthquake, estimated at magnitude 7.9, killed over 3,000 people and destroyed 80% of the city. The fires that followed burned for 3 days, consuming over 28,000 buildings. It remains one of the deadliest natural disasters in American history. And over a century later, San Francisco is right back in the crosshairs. The city is flanked by the San Andreas Fault to the west and the Hayward Fault to the east. It has iconic buildings perched on steep hills. Much of its financial district was built on soft, artificial landfill, the kind of soil that liquefies during an earthquake, turning ground into quicksand. The 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, a magnitude 6.9, killed 67 people and collapsed a section of the Bay Bridge. And that was just a preview. San Francisco has invested heavily in preparation, but it carries the weight of history and the certainty that what happened in 1906 will happen again. 3. San Jose, California. This is the heart of Silicon Valley, home to trillion-dollar giants like Apple, Google, Facebook, and Intel. It is one of the world's most powerful economic engines, but it sits right alongside the Hayward Fault. Scientists call it the most dangerous urban fault in America. The fault runs directly beneath the densely populated San Francisco Bay Area. Stadiums, hospitals, universities, and highways, many are built directly on top of the fault or within its damage zone. In 1868, the Hayward Fault produced a devastating earthquake. Today, a repeat could cause catastrophic damage, affecting millions, and potentially crippling global technology infrastructure. The USGS estimates a 33% chance of a magnitude 6.7 or greater earthquake on the Hayward Fault in the next 30 years. The clock is ticking. 4. Los Angeles, California. Threat level: very high, the big one. You knew this was coming. Los Angeles, the city of angels, the entertainment capital of the world, home to 4 million people in the city alone, and 13 million in the greater metro area. And it sits on top of one of the most complex fault systems on the planet. The San Andreas Fault runs for 800 miles along California, and scientists have been warning for decades that the southern section near Los Angeles is locked and bloated. They call what's coming the big one, a projected magnitude 7.8 earthquake. A 2008 USGS study called the Shakeout Scenario painted a terrifying picture. Over 1,800 deaths, 50,000 injuries, $200 billion in damage. Fires breaking out across the city simultaneously, overwhelming firefighters. Roads destroyed, cutting off emergency response. LA has made progress, retrofitting older buildings, installing early warning systems. But with millions of people spread across hundreds of square miles, the scale of the challenge is almost incomprehensible. The big one is not a theory, it is a certainty. The only question is how many people will be ready when it arrives. 5. St. Louis, Missouri. Like Memphis, St. Louis sits in the danger zone of the new Madrid seismic zone. But St. Louis adds another layer of risk. It is a much larger, more densely developed urban area. St. Louis is home to over 2.8 million people in its metro area. Its iconic Gateway Arch, its historic brick neighborhoods, its aging infrastructure, all of it would be tested by a major new Madrid event. In fact, many of St. Louis' most beloved buildings, the beautiful old row houses, the Victorian-era structures, were built in an era when earthquake engineering simply did not exist. They look magnificent, but they were not built to survive ground shaking. A study found that a major new Madrid earthquake could damage or destroy hundreds of thousands of buildings across Missouri and surrounding states. And St. Louis would be ground zero. 6. Salt Lake City, Utah. Nestled between the stunning Wasatch Mountains and the Great Salt Lake, it looks like one of the safest cities in America. But directly beneath this picturesque landscape runs the Wasatch Fault, a 240-mile-long crack in the earth. Scientists consider this one of the most dangerous fault zones in the country. It is what geologists call a normal fault. This means that when it ruptures, one side drops dramatically relative to the other. The last major rupture was over 1,400 years ago, and that is a very long time for pressure to build. Scientists estimate that a major Wasatch Fault earthquake could reach magnitude 7.5 in a city of over 200,000 people, with thousands of older buildings built before modern earthquake codes. The damage could be staggering. The Utah Geological Survey has warned that such an earthquake could kill thousands and injure tens of thousands more. It could cause over $33 billion in damage, making it the costliest natural disaster in Utah history. 7. Seattle, Washington, capital of the Pacific Northwest, home to Amazon, Microsoft, and Boeing. It's one of the fastest growing cities in America, and it faces not one, but 3 major earthquake threats simultaneously. First, the Cascadia subduction zone. This massive boundary lies just off the coast, capable of unleashing a mega-thrust event. Second, the Seattle Fault, a system running directly beneath the city that could produce a magnitude 7.0 quake with almost no warning. Third, deep intraslab earthquakes that occur within the subducting Juan de Fuca plate, far beneath the Earth's surface. In 2001, the Nisqually earthquake, a magnitude 6.8, caused over $4 billion in damage to Seattle, and that was considered a moderate quake. Scientists warn that the Seattle Fault could drop the city's waterfront by 20 feet in minutes. A full Cascadia rupture could trigger tsunamis that would flood low-lying areas before residents could even evacuate. Seattle is building for the future, but is it building fast enough? Portland, Oregon is one of America's most beloved cities, famous for its food scene, its bridges, and its progressive culture. But underneath its charming neighborhoods lies one of the most terrifying geological threats on the planet. Portland sits directly above the Cascadia subduction zone, a 700-mile-long fault where the Juan de Fuca tectonic plate slides underneath North America. And scientists say it is overdue for a massive rupture. We're not talking about a magnitude 6 or 7. We're talking about a magnitude 9.0 or greater, an earthquake so powerful it would shake the Pacific Northwest for up to 5 full minutes. A 2015 New Yorker article called it the really big one, and it sparked national alarm. Scientists estimated that when the Cascadia Fault breaks, it could kill over 13,000 people in Oregon and leave over 1 million displaced. Portland's older buildings, many built of unreinforced brick, would crumble like sand castles. Water systems would fail. Roads would become impassable. Recovery could take decades. 9. Anchorage, Alaska, most seismically active state in America by a massive margin. It experiences more earthquakes every single year than all 49 other states combined. And sitting right in the middle of this seismic chaos is Anchorage, Alaska's largest city, home to nearly 300,000 people. In 1964, Anchorage was devastated by the Good Friday earthquake, a magnitude 9.2 monster that remains the second most powerful earthquake ever recorded. Entire neighborhoods collapsed. The ground split open. Tsunamis killed people hundreds of miles away. In 2018, Anchorage was struck again, a magnitude 7.1 earthquake that crumbled highways, shattered buildings, and sent residents fleeing into the streets. The science is brutally clear. Anchorage will be hit again. The question is not F, it is W-H-E-N. 10 Memphis, Tennessee. Think of earthquake danger in America, they think of California. But deep in the heart of the American South lies a sleeping giant that scientists fear could be catastrophic. Memphis, Tennessee sits directly above the New Madrid seismic zone, one of the most dangerous fault systems in the entire country. Between 1811 and 1812, a series of earthquakes struck this region so powerful that the Mississippi River actually reversed its flow. Church bells rang in Boston. Over 1,000 miles away, the ground opened up, swallowing entire forests. Today, Memphis is a modern city of over 600,000 people. And unlike California, the buildings here were not designed to survive a major quake. FEMA estimates that a major New Madrid earthquake could cause the single greatest natural disaster in American history, worse than Hurricane Katrina. Bridges would collapse, gas lines would rupture, hundreds of thousands of homes would be destroyed. Memphis may look calm on the surface, but beneath its streets, the clock is ticking. So there you have it. 10 American cities, from the obvious to the shocking, all sitting on the edge of seismic disaster. Memphis and St. Louis sleeping above the New Madrid fault. Portland and Seattle waiting for the Cascadia subduction zone to unleash its fury. Los Angeles and San Francisco knowing the big one is coming. And Charleston, quiet, beautiful, completely unprepared for what history says is inevitable. Now here's the thing. This video is not meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you. Scientists have given us the warnings. Engineers have told us what needs to be done. The question is, are we listening? Because the Earth doesn't care about our timelines. It doesn't care about our plans. It moves on its own schedule, and when it does, the cities that prepared will survive. The cities that didn't, won't. If you live in any of these cities, I'd encourage you to look up your local emergency preparedness resources. Know your earthquake kit. Know your evacuation routes. And talk to your family, because the ground beneath us is always moving. The only variable is whether we move with it in time. If this video opened your eyes, do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps more people find this information. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We cover the stories about our world that mainstream media often misses. Drop a comment below. Which city surprised you the most? And if you live in one of these cities, how are you preparing? We'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.